So if you've been doing a little bit of factoring and you come across this guy, you may be thinking, whoa, this is a little too small. There should be something right here in the middle. Well, if you wanted, you could put that something in the middle, because it usually goes m squared, then an m, and then a 25. But you can't just add any old m, or else you've changed the whole thing. You could add 0 m's, because 0 times m makes 0, and 0 stands for nothing, so that'd bring you back to what you started with, 36m squared subtract 25. So there's that missing thing right there. You could add a 0m. And now when you try to factor this, it's probably with methods that you're used to seeing. You're trying to make two parentheses so that when they multiply, everything cancels out in the middle. You have 30. It turns into this. And since you have a number in front of the variable that's being squared, you've got to use a more complicated method. And what I've been teaching is the magic number method. So here's all the steps of the magic number method. First, you multiply the first and the last numbers together to get the magic number. So in our example here, now that I've rewritten it, you multiply 36 times negative 25 to get your magic number. To get your magic number of negative 900 is what happens when you multiply those together. So that's step one. Step two on my list here is to find the magic pair. And what I've been calling the magic pair is when you find two numbers that multiply be this magic number, but add up to be your middle number. And in this case, there was no middle number, so it's a 0m. They need to add up to be 0. Well, the only way that can happen is if it's like a 25 and a negative 25, or a 30 and a negative 30, because those are the only things that would add up to make 0. So we're looking for two numbers that are the same, just different signs. So 300, negative 900, that's 30 and negative 30. Actually, let's use a different color for the magic pair because it's special. It's very special. There we go. 30 times negative 30 makes negative 900, and 30 plus negative 30 makes 0. So this is step 2. We found the magic pair. Step 3 says replace the middle term with the magic pair. So back up here. Now that we've rewritten it, it was 36m squared subtract 25, but we rewrote it. It's 36m squared plus 0m. That just stands for 0, so that's really nothing right there. Looking at this, we're supposed to replace this middle term with this magic pair. So here's what it looks like. There we go. That's what it looks like when you replace that middle term. This and this, notice they're the same thing, because 30m subtract 30m makes 0m, and that's what we started with. So we've done step 3. We replaced the middle term with our magic pair, 30m and negative 30, and 30 and negative 30 were our magic pair. So we've done the replacement. So step 4, the magic method says factor by grouping, and then you're all done. And factor by grouping is where you put parentheses around the first two terms, parentheses around the last two terms, and then you factor out what's in common. And in this first one, 36 and 30, what do we got? We got 3's and m's that we can take out, so we'll take out a 3m from both of them. Both of them, the greatest common factor between the two of them is a 3m. And what's left over is going to be 12m, and 30 divided by 3 makes 10. Okay, same thing with this one. Negative 30m subtract 25. Remember, it's always good to start off on a positive note, not a negative note. So let's pull out a negative number. That way we'll be doing a negative 30m divide by some negative number to give us a positive number to start there. And looking at what we got, these both are divisible by 5, so divide a negative 5 out of all those. And what's left over is 6m, and 25 divided by 5 makes 5. So there we go. Now we're doing better here. So we're factoring by grouping. We grouped them in two parentheses. We took out what's in common. And what you should see when you factor by grouping is that the parentheses that you made are the same, and mine are not, are they? Because this is 12m plus 10, this is 6m plus 5. And what I actually missed, and maybe you picked up on this, is that you could have taken a greater factor out of here. This is not the greatest common factor. Both of those numbers are divisible by 6. So you should have took out a 6m from everything, and that would leave you with 6m plus 5. And again, the only reason I was able to catch that is because I saw that my two parentheses were not the same, and they should be. That's a 6m plus 5. They should be when you do when you factor by grouping. And that's a plus over there too. That's ugly. Let's fix that. There we go. Now we have two parentheses are the same. You write one of those parentheses, you factor it out, and then you make a new parentheses with the stuff on the outside, and that completes factoring by grouping. Multiply these two together, and it'll turn into what you started with over here. Now we're all done.